I have a busy day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multitask and I'm going to talk to you guys about the top 10 mistakes that I see newbies make when it comes to starting their gym routine, or they make in the gym or getting into a gym routine. Number one, we're going to pluck some chin hairs. All right. The first thing that I see people doing is that they assume that they need to be an expert before they get started. Sorry, guys, I'm actually getting ready right now. So you're going to have to witness me pluck the chin hairs. I've had way too much caffeine. You get older and then just shit starts growing out of your face. All right, so back to what I was saying. Assuming that you need to be an expert before you get started is what we hear often, right? We hear people say like, I need to get in better shape before I start, one of your programs or something of that nature. And I always liken that to the same analogy as like, I really can't go to the dentist until my teeth are fixed. Do you see the problem there? Yeah, it's a little bit of an oxymoron. So what you need to do instead is realize that everybody was a beginner once. And I know that that's cliche and you're probably rolling your eyes at me, but it's important to remember that, because if you can remind yourself when you walk into a gym or you join a program or something that, okay, these girls, these women, we're all new once too. It sort of settles a little bit of the anxiety that peaks up when we want to do something and we don't, okay? Because I know that this stops a lot of people dead in their tracks when it comes to taking that first step to trying either a new fitness routine or just even starting anything in general, is they feel like they need to know all the things. I see entrepreneurs do this too. It's like, I need to have every bit of information about everything before I actually take action. And you just need to take action. And if you take action, that momentum will help you build in that consistency and understand that you don't need to be an expert. You just need to take action. So that's the first thing. It is assuming you need to be an expert before you get started with anything health and fitness related. All right. The next key thing is a lot of women overvalue variety, right? Like I get bored so fast that I need a lot of variety when it comes to my workouts, which is great. I understand that. I understand not wanting to be bored. However, these are also a lot of times the same women that are coming to us and saying things like, my body's hit a plateau. I'm not seeing any changes. I was trying to get a little more define or more definition or looking a little bit more fit. These are a lot of times the same women, to which we all always will say, like, the problem is that we overvalue the need for variety. And so we do a lot of chaotic things. All right. We're like, okay, I'm going to go for a run this day. Then I'm going to go to Orange Theory, and then I'm going to take a spin class, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do that. And while I think it's great for variety, for health and longevity, and if it keeps you moving, perfect. But if you're here with me, you're probably here with me because I also value physique change, because I'm a vain bitch and I like to look good. And a lot of times, most women that seek myself or my team out, there is a bit of that also comes with it. Okay. So if you are valuing just straight variety of like, I need to go to this boot camp class and do this thing because they have 35 different exercises that keep me distracted, and then the hour goes by fast, you'll probably continue to struggle because there isn't structure with a program. Typically, I'm not speaking for all, but typically with programs like that, there isn't a lot of structure for physique change. It's a lot of just like sweaty workouts. Let's get your heart rate up. Let's try to, flip flop your body around in some burpees and shit. And rather, if you are wanting to change your physique, it's important to understand this term that we use in the body sculpting, physique sculpting world, which is progressive overload, which also is, yes, going to translate into strength as well. It's hot as fuck in here. All right, I'm back. Progressive overload. So progressive overload, just in simple terms, is following a program that challenges you to either lift heavier when you are moving through this program week to week, or you do more sets. Progressive overload also looks like I'm going to work on like tempos with my training, right? So something like the slow eccentrics down, you're doing like a 2-second down and a 2-second up, right? Where you're really keeping some time under tension. And with physique sculpting, that's really where the variety comes in. If you want to change the shape of your body, if you want to sculpt your physique and have more definition and tone and all that fun stuff. Now, I'm not going to exclude the fact that diet is definitely the key driver for you to actually see your results in real time, because the exercise is just a fraction of that. But when it does, since we're on the topic of the training piece of things, it is very important for you to understand that a lot of the fitness models and women that you see that have great sculpted legs and perky glutes, as long as it's not genetics, they're typically following a strength training program that layers in a piece of progressive overload. And that is how they stay engaged in the program, right? Is like they know that, for me, like my training programs that I create are 4 to 6 weeks. Let's just for the record, I hate 4-week programs. Like it's not my favorite. I do think there's definitely value in that, right? Where essentially what I mean by a 4-week program is I create a strength training program. Let's say it's 3-4 days a week in the gym, and it's like 3 glute days and an upper body day, which is actually my 6-week glute program. And I prefer 6 weeks because let me tell you why. I'm going to go on a little tangent. Are you ready? Is week 1, you're getting acclimated. You're in the baby deer phase, right? You're like, okay, what's this? What's that? How am I doing this? How many reps? How many sets? What's my baseline weight? Getting acclimated to everything. So that's week 1. Week 2, okay, I feel a little bit better. Now let me get through this workout a little bit quicker. Now you know what to expect. Where you're going to be sore, all the things. Week 3. Okay, I'm in a rhythm. I feel like I figured it out. I feel like I understand the exercises. I get the form, so on and so forth. Now I can start focusing on, maybe adding a little bit more weight, a little more progressive overload. Then weeks 4, 5, and 6 are when things start to feel a little more solid, right? You've done the routine. You understand all the things with it. And then that's when you can start to really crush, is those last, sort of 3 weeks in a program. Now, I've followed a program probably for 20 weeks because they're solid movements that work, and they're standard for hypertrophy, which is, building muscle, which equals changing the shape of your body. Do you guys like my fan? It's very fabulous. That's number 2, is that a lot of times newbies, they overvalue their variety. They need variety. They need 30 exercises. They need to be distracted and confuse their muscles. It's not a thing, bitches. That was number 2. Boop, boop. The third thing, that newbie mistake that a lot of women make in the beginning when they start getting into the gym and get in a groove with their health and fitness, is somewhere, somehow, somebody told them that they need to base their training session or their workout session around how many calories that they burned. Please don't be her. Please don't be that person. Okay. That is not a great basis for whether or not a training program is a good program. It's not, or if it was a good session, because what we hear often, at least, in the 20 years I have been working with women is, I stopped weight training because it just didn't burn as many calories. And I'm like, bitch, you stopped before it got good, okay? Because let me tell you, I'm just going to briefly touch on this because I did another episode where I dove into that shit, where I was like, listen, here's the scientific stuffs behind a good workout with cardio versus strength training. I'm just going to sum it up. Strength training, you're likely not going to burn as many calories in that isolated session as you would if you did cardio for the same duration. Okay, so let's say you train for an hour. If you were to go out for a run, I'm just gonna use that because it's simple. Please don't do that for an hour unless you're training for a marathon or something. But if you were to go out and run for an hour, you're likely going to burn more calories in that run. I'm not even gonna tell you otherwise. But what I am gonna tell you is that the strength training session is like your high yield savings account, okay? You're investing in laying down good quality tissue that is going to burn more calories while you're at rest, right? So that will burn more calories after the workout. When you are doing cardio, your heart rate doesn't stay elevated as long as it would after a training session, right? Your body after a training session is trying to recover. It's trying to repair. It's trying to replace all of the things that you just depleted, which are a lot more intensive than when you do a cardio session. So that is going to require more demand of the energy systems in your body. So it's going to burn more calories over time. But a lot of people, they don't be knowing that, okay? So they just like, oh no, weight training, I stopped it because it didn't burn as many calories. And I'm like, oh my God, please stop that. I don't know who's telling people this. And I just put way too much of this on my face. That is number 3, is women base a good training session off of how many calories their watch says they burned. I started ignoring that a long time ago, okay? Because I know the benefits of weight training and just ignoring that is gotta be key. All right, number 4, kind of along the same lines, is that a lot of times women try to make their weight training workouts into cardio sessions. I don't have a lot of pet peeves when it comes to training clients. I love training clients. I miss it dearly. It taught me so much about women. It taught me so much about the human body, psychology, things that women believe that are not true. That was actually me in the lab, understanding what women perceive and think and what actually is reality. Okay. Because let me tell you, we're a little delulu. Now, women oftentimes, when they start weight training, are very conditioned to more of a high intensity group class. Again, back to my previous point of, I got to do this, burn more calories, is that they will get a program. And let's say my program is calls for 10 to 15 reps or, 12 to 15 reps of something. Let's just use a squat as an example. All right. They will do their squats. They'll do their 10 to 15 reps, whatever. And then they'll be like, I'm just going to burn it out at the end. And they do that with every single exercise. And they have now turned their strength training session into a cardio session, and it taps into different energy systems. And then now you have almost defeated the purpose of your weight training session. So to that, I say, stop doing that. Don't make your strength training sessions into cardio sessions, because the strength training sessions need to serve as that foundation for you to build your good quality, muscle. And if you're turning it into cardio sessions, then you're defeating the purpose. Okay? Don't do that. The 5th mistake that newbies make when they start working out or training is they use the scale as their only indicator of success. Okay? They're like, I started strength training and I didn't lose weight. And I'm like, bitch, did you take pictures? Did you take progress photos? Did you take measurements? Did you do it long enough to actually see the results? How was your diet? Was your diet trash? Your workout is 1 hour of a day. And I'm saying this with attitude to my old self. So anytime you watch my videos or listen to my podcast, just know that if I sound very preachy, it's because I'm yelling at Diane, who was this before she became the boss bitch, right? Well, even way, way before she became the boss bitch. So your strength training as a focus is likely not going to be the dial mover. And honestly, cardio is not either. It's your nutrition. So to that, I say you can use the scale as one of the measures that you track for success in your journey. However, I encourage you to take progress photos and take them every week. If that's too much, take them every 2 weeks. If that's too much, take them every month. But just keep doing the strength training so that way you have a basis to look back on. You know, you can say, okay, the scale didn't move much. However, damn, these photos though, like my glutes have completely reshaped, restructured. There is a thing, especially when you're new, which is body recomposition that a lot of people really want, right? When I ask women, I have a Facebook group, which if you're not in the Boss Bitch Besties, you should probably do that. We have some questions that we ask when they join, because this kind of helps me form content and understand really where women's minds are at. And so 90% of the girls, women who join, when I ask the question, like, in a perfect world, like, what is your dream physique? And, or, you know, what are you trying to achieve? It's usually some form of, I want to lose fat and build muscle or gain muscle or be defined or something like that. And those are very two opposing goals and very hard to achieve simultaneously unless you are a newbie. You will experience newbie gains. However, you got to be patient. And the hard thing is that a lot of people are not capitalizing on that because they're so fixated on the scale that they quit before it gets good. So you got to stay persistent in that. And trust me when I say the newbie gains is something that you will benefit from. And you are going to be the most likely to make those physique changes in the early days when you're really new to strength training. You just have to give the scale much, much less importance than you probably are. All right. The sixth thing is another mistake that women make is they have completely unrealistic expectations. They're like, yeah, I haven't worked out in like 3 years and I've been eating like a dumpster fire and I don't know why your 12-week program didn't solve all my problems. Insert crickets here while I look at them and like want to palm smack their forehead for them because, hi, I was that bitch too. Like, hey, this isn't going to solve all my problems right now. What the actual fuck? So you got to set realistic expectations. How long did it take you to get in the shape that you're in? It probably wasn't 12 weeks. I got 4% left on this battery, so we're going to make it snappy. The seventh thing is a lot of times women don't train hard enough. They're afraid to go heavy. They're afraid they're going to get bulky. They're afraid that they're a delicate flower and they're going to turn into a man. That's not real. That's not a real thing. The women that you see that get bulky is usually a couple different scenarios. One, they're doing a lot of steroids and they're training at levels that you probably will never be able to because they are doing steroids. And then number two is bulky comes from body fat on top of muscle. So if you tend to get bulky, then it's likely because your diet is not in check. And if there are certain parts of your body that are getting bulky, then stop training them with weights and move to different body parts or go lighter, right? There are the different things that you can do. I don't know. That was a random one that I just made up. It wasn't even on the list, but I'm glad that I added it. Number 7 is actually not training hard enough and only hitting their rep ranges without really pushing themselves. So for example, if you are, doing one of my programs or any program for that matter, and it's like, okay, 12 to 15 reps, you get to 12 to 15 reps and you just stop because that's what the program says. And you probably could have did 10 more. You aren't actually taxing your muscles enough to make change. Great for your health. You'll probably see some loose benefits there, but you need to be pushing yourself a little bit harder than the average bear. Number 8 is lack of internal focus. And that means focusing your attention on the muscles that you're working. A lot of people don't understand that. So when you understand your body and what it's doing and what it should be doing, it makes it a lot easier. Lack of internal focus of attention, AKA mind to muscle connection. All right. So when you train, You want to be focused on the muscle that is working, the muscle that you're trying to, to change, to strengthen, whatever your special sauce is, whatever you're trying to achieve. You got to focus on that. And, people are poo-pooing people, I should say, like more of like the, scientific bodybuilding experts and whatnot. And they really hate when you say mind to muscle connection, but it's a thing, right? Like connecting your mind to the muscle that's working is super important. I would say that that's probably a huge piece of my success with physique changing and like my success with my competing is that when I get into my training sessions, it's me time. It's time for me to go inward. It's time for me to focus on myself. I'm here for the goals at hand. And oftentimes that is really dialing into feeling the muscle that should be moving the weight. Okay. Super important. And a lot of people don't understand that. When you lack that internal focus of attention, AKA mind to muscle connection, oftentimes this leads to greater injuries. People get hurt. They don't know what should be working. They move more through joints and things like that. So you really, as a newbie, need to focus on the question at hand, which is what muscle should I be feeling? Where should I be feeling this? When you work with a trainer, a good trainer will be inclined to ask you that. Where are you feeling this? I don't like to lead the witness. Okay. So if you're a trainer and you're training clients, it's better for you to say, where are you feeling this? Rather than, are you feeling this in your glutes? Are you feeling this in your back? Right? Because they're going to sometimes, when they're new, sometimes they don't want attention on themselves or whatever. They don't want to feel like they're doing things wrong. And I will say, like, where are you feeling this? And then they'll tell me, or they don't know the name of the muscle and they'll point to it. And I'll say like, okay, that's not the one I'm trying to get you to feel. So let me adjust some things for you. And like good trainers will understand how to do that. Okay. So that's number 8. I think it's probably number 9 because I added an extra one in there for you guys. Number 9, another mistake that newbies make is they don't prioritize their form and they prioritize lifting heavier. I see this often. I see this I even see this in our studio where we train women. It's like they come in and like they'll get comfortable and they start to like enjoy the process. And then their brain is like, I just need to lift heavier, heavier, heavier. Like they get competitive. I see this a lot in women who are super competitive. I am not that woman. Okay. I am not competitive like that whatsoever. I feel like there was a period of time where I maybe was for a little bit, but I don't get crazy like that. I know that form is the key to actually building muscle. If your form is shit, your results are going to be shit. So this makes no sense, or it is absolutely illogical to just layer more weight on top of weight if you can't control and handle the weight that you're currently at with form to actually get the needed range of motion to elicit the response that you're looking for, which is strengthening and growing your muscle, right? So you got to get the form right. Sometimes you got to take 5 steps back to take 5 steps forward. We do this a lot in person when we train clients because they will have established movement patterns for years and we have to break them of that. And a lot of times they don't like that. You won't like that, girlfriend, because I'm going to be like, let's pull some weight off and I need you to get more depth, or I need you to slow the fuck down. Right? So that is the number 9. It is focusing on form is a priority, and most newbies just bypass that and they just want to go straight to lifting heavier, and then they're dealing with all kinds of other issues or they're not seeing results. And then the last thing I'm going to say, and there's probably more, but these were like the top 10 that I could think of, is doing their exercises, their training exercises in the wrong order. So when you get a training program, at least from myself or my team, we are going to set it up in a way that makes sense for your beginning exercises for that day. So let's just use glutes for an example because Boss Bitch Booty is in the house. In my Boss Bitch Booty program, you'll see the big exercises are at the top of the workout, and that is intentionally. So when you get a program like that, Don't start with the one that you want to. That's the easiest because you don't know if you're going to have enough time, and let me just do this thing first. Because I'm putting the bigger dial movers, the bigger compound movements, the ones that are going to make the most change and that are the most taxing on your body and your central nervous system, they're going to be earlier in the workout intentionally, because that should be when you are the most freshest, primed, ready to go. You're going to be able to push the hardest. If you go and you start with the accessory movements like cable kickbacks and, abductors or, a step up or a lunge or something like that, and then you try to go back and then do some heavy hip thrusts or RDLs or a leg press or something like that, you're not going to be at your freshest for that big compound movement or that big movement. You're just not. Whether you like it or not, I don't care. I don't care if you just did some cable kickbacks. You are already starting to fatigue your system. You're going to be missing out on some potential gains if you do that first. So look at your program, do the big dial movers first, and then follow through with the rest of the program. If you're short on time, do the bigger movements first and leave the other ones behind. That is my 2 cents as a personal trainer who has done this a time or two or 16 on stage. And we've worked with thousands of women. So I know, I've been knowing. Okay. How was that, you guys? This was a very different YouTube video. So if you liked this video, you enjoy more informal style videos and podcasts, let me know. Shoot me a comment. Shoot me a subscribe, shoot me a something, and let me know. I love you a great deal. I want you to do it right the first time. So that way you're not lifting like an asshole and making mistakes and struggling. So I say this with love and lots of kisses to your delicate little forehead, my 5 head. I need to actually bronze that bitch up right now. And I will see you on the next episode. Ta-ta for now.